Assalamu alaikum. Hello and welcome to the live English class. I am from the platform of Chattogram Online School, and this live English class is for the students of class 11 and class 12, that is the HSC examinees of 2020. In our class today, I like to discuss on a scene comprehension passage from the EFT English for Today book. This is a very important text for HSC exam 2020 and also year final exam. I welcome all the students in my class. Now let's move into the class proper. I am Muhammad Imdadul Rahman, Assistant Professor and Head of English Department, Bangladesh Navy College, Chittagong. So, dear students, there is a picture on the slide. You can see that this is the picture. Can you guess or can you tell me what is the picture about? Let me give you some clue. It is a folk art picture. It is a picture of folk art. It reflects our folk art. And also a very famous personality in Bengal who used to spread Islam. Can you tell me or can you tell us his name? That is the person who is on the tiger's back. I hope you can. If you can, just write it down in the comment box. Now let's move on to the next slide. So there are some pictures you can also see. These are called scroll painting. Scroll painting, or we can call it the part of folk art. These are the scroll painting, all these things. Folk art, a folk tradition. It represents our folk culture in art. Now, I like to tell about our topic, that is the scene comprehension. I have already mentioned the legend of Gazi, unit 14, lesson 3, page number 190. This is a very important passage in the context of exam. So dear students, I hope all of you have your books, EFT, that is English for Today book, in front of you, and pen and paper with you to take down or note down, jot down some points in fact. So this is our lecture today. This is our topic, the legend of Gazi. Now let's have a look at the learning outcome. What are the learning outcome? We'll know about Gazi Pir after reading the passage. We'll answer some testing items. This is for the exam items, important for exam. Later on we will do it after reading the passage. And I also remind you, dear students, that is this passage is very important for rearrangement of sentences. You know that there is a part in your question in English first paper, reordering or rearrangement of sentences, 10 marks. Some sentences will be jumbled or disordered. You will have to reorder them in correct order. So this passage is important because for the last 2 years in the HSC exam, I have noticed that in some boards, especially in Chittagong board, rearrangement sentences are coming from the text, like these texts, like Gazi Pir, Hercules, etc. And later on, we'll just mingle all the information we have gathered, and then we will be able to write a paragraph on Gazi Pir. Now I want to give you some information about Gazi Pir. Gazi Pir, also known as Barkhan Gazi or Gazi Sahib, is another name. Was a Muslim saint or Pir, lived in the 12th or 13th century during the spread of Islam in Bengal. So he has a big role, a big contribution in spreading Islam in Bengal. Was known for his power over the dangerous animals. That is power. This man, he was not very powerful. That is, he could control the dangerous animals as per his will, and was also known for controlling animal. That is the same point. He is worshipped alongside Bon Bibi and the Hindu Dakshin Rai to ask for protection from tigers. So these are some information about Gazi Pir. Now let's look at some keywords, the passage we will read later on, or we will go through later on. Legend, a traditional story, something historical but not authenticated. ঐতিহাসিক প্রথাগত একটা গল্প থাকবে যেটা সত্য নাও হতে পারে, not authenticated. Myth, a traditional story involving supernatural beings and events, or supernatural stories. Saint, holy, or we can call virtuous person, credited with someone is responsible for particular achievement. To give credit also we can call. Supposedly, is generally assumed or believed, ধারণা করা হয় বা বিশ্বাস করা হয়. Depicted, this is a very good word to use. Represented by a drawing or painting, চিত্রায়িত করা, যেটাকে আমরা বাংলায় বলি. Docile, submissive, or ready to accept control. Gazir part, you will get the word in the text, Gazir part. So Gazir part means made of thick cotton fabric. So on that thick or cotton fabric, when the stories of or the legends, story related to legend Gazi Pir are depicted, we will call it Gazir part. Scroll, a roll of parchment or paper for writing on. Fierce, aggressive, ferocious, bhayankar. Apparent, obvious. Creeks, a narrow waterway. Vigilant, keeping careful watch. খুব তৎপর থাকা. Indigenous, this is a good word. You can use it in our writing, or in our writing you can also use it. Native, local অর্থে আমরা ব্যবহার করি, স্থানীয় অর্থে আমরা ব্যবহার করি. So these were the words, in fact, keywords. While you were reading the passage, these meanings will be helpful. Now, we like to read out the passage. I like to read out the passage and try to analyze the passage. Legend of Gazi. According to some myths and legends, Gazi Pir was a Muslim saint. We have already known that Gazi Pir was a Muslim saint, and the legendary stories and mythical stories gives us the information. Who was said to have spread Islam on the parts of Bengal close to Sundarban. So Gazi Pir has a big role, a big contribution to contribution in spreading Islam in Bengal, especially in the parts of Sundarban region or Sundarban area. So we have gathered two information basically from the first line. Gazi Pir was a Muslim saint, and he used to spread Islam, and he took the role to spread Islam in Bengal, and he chose the area, especially the Sundarban area, or the areas near the Sundarban. He was credited with many miracles. Gazi Pir, people used to call him a miraculous person. He could do some extraordinary things. অসাধারণ কিছু জিনিস তিনি করতে পারতেন, অলৌকিক জিনিস করতে পারতেন. Those were not basically possible for the common people, or we the common people cannot perform or accomplish these tasks. So we can call he is a man of miracle, and also he is a man of mission. And his mission is what? His mission is to spread Islam. He could, for example, some miraculous things, for instance, or for examples are given. He could supposedly calm dangerous animals. So dangerous animals would come in control because of Gazi Pir. Or in another way you can tell Gazi Pir has the ability to control the dangerous animal. Supposedly means we can assume, ধারণা করা হয়. And make them docile. And he could also make them docile. তিনি তাদেরকে বশে আনতে পারতেন. He could not only control them, but also he could keep them within a bounds, within his surroundings, so that common people would not get afraid of those animals. This is one of the miracles of Gazi Pir. He is usually depicted in parts or scroll paintings. I have shown you scroll paintings. So in the parts or scroll paintings, some rolled up things, some rolled up paper like things where pictures are drawn, arts are drawn, etc. So some miraculous stories related to Gazi Pir are drawn in those rolled up paintings. What is the painting about, or what was the painting about? The painting was about riding on a fierce looking Bengal tiger. Gazi Pir was riding on a fierce looking Bengal tiger. I hope you remember the very first picture of Gazi Pir. I have shown you in the slide. Gazi Pir was riding on a fierce looking, very dangerous looking Royal Bengal tiger. It is almost impossible for a common people to ride on a Royal Bengal tiger. একটা বাঘের পিঠে চড়া সাধারণ মানুষের জন্য সহজ ব্যাপার না. সাধারণ মানুষ একটা বাঘ দেখলে 10 ফিট দূরে একটা বাঘ দেখলেও ভয় পেয়ে যাবে, সেখানে বাঘের পিঠে চড়া দূরের কথা. It is far beyond to ride on a Royal Bengal tiger. Not only that, he had a snake in his hand also. So he was riding on the Royal Bengal tiger, and he used to keep a snake or hold a snake in his hand also. This is a part of his miracles or powerfulness. That's why he is the Pir or saint. That is the difference between a Pir and a normal person. And you have to remember at the same time that he is not that sort of Pir who is earning money by showing some extraordinary things. In fact, he is doing something for the betterment or welfare of the humanity, and to the special mention the humanity of the Bengal, and more specifically the humanity of the human beings of the people who reside near the Sundarban areas. But in no apparent danger. Apparently, he was not very afraid. The thing he was doing, riding on a fierce looking, dangerous looking tiger and holding a snake in his hand, he is not in danger. So people would admire for these sort of spectacular activities. According to some stories, there are some other stories also. What are the stories? He fought with crocodiles. This is another specialities of Gazi Pir. He fought with crocodiles. Crocodiles were very dangerous things. These crocodiles would not give common people peace in doing their daily and normal activities. So Gazi Pir fought with those crocodiles, which threatened the people of a region full of canals and creeks. So the area Sundarban was full of canals and creeks. Creeks means some ditches, we can call in English. In Bangla we can call it some khari. Canals and creeks, some watery areas. So these watery areas, in these watery areas, or we can call it the watery areas, were full of crocodiles. Crocodiles would reside or stay in that watery areas or in the canals and ditches. Indeed, a kind of watery jungle bordering the Bay of Bengal. So in that watery jungle, crocodiles would live. Common people had to stay because of their earning or livelihood. So it is not possible to stay or to fight with the crocodiles and live at the same time for the common people. So Gazipir here worked as a catalyst. Gazipir here helped them to work or to guide them in the proper direction so that they can cultivate in that impossible or in that critical area. Because of his alert and vigilant presence. So Gazipir was very alert person and he was vigilant, that is active person. Because of his activeness, proactiveness, because of his agility and because of his alertness, all predatory animals were said to have been kept within bounds. The predatory animals, shikari je pranigulo ache, je pranigulo shikar kore খায়, the animals which live on prey, the preying animals. So what did Gazipir do? Gazipir controlled these preying animals. Gazipir had drawn a boundary line or kept the animals within a bounds to make the people assured that, to give the people assurance that I am here, you have no fear, just go there and cultivate for food, you will be able to do your normal activity because I am here for your protection. It was also believed that he enabled villagers to live close to the forest. This is one of his main activities. He gave confidence to the common people, the village people, rural people, that they can live there because Gazipir was there and cultivate the lands. Consequently, the people of those regions would pray to him for protection. So what happened next? Because of all these activities, because of all these assurances, people started to rely on him. People started to depend on him. All their activities were centered around Gazipir. Why? Because Gazipir had given them confidence of living there, cultivating there. And they also would ask for protection to him. Consequently, people of those regions would pray to him for protection. The story of Gazipir has been preserved in folk literature as well as art and has been performed in indigenous theatre. So 3 points here. So this was the story of Gazipir. It is depicted in, we have shown you, in the scroll paintings, and it is also written in folk literature. The story of Gazipir had been written in folk literature. So this is a part of folk literature. So the story of Gazipir had enriched our folk literature, had enriched our folk art. Not only folk literature and folk art, it has also enriched or enlightened our theatre also. That is the indigenous theatre, native theatre. The local je theatre, local, স্থানীয়, native je theatre আছে, সেখানেও গাজীর পালা এই অভিনয় হতো. So you can see very easily that it is a part of folk art, folk literature and folk theatre. In fact, some Gazir part scrolls are part of the collection of British Museum. So last line, so this thing being preserved or keeping the scroll painting of Gazipir preserved in British Museum, it has given the act or work an international flavor, international effect. What is that? this thing has got universalization. It has become a universal folk art because it is preserved in British Museum. The picture I have shown you at the very beginning of my lecture, that is Gazi Pir is riding on a dangerous looking tiger holding a snake in his hand. That picture, that folk art picture or scroll painting is preserved in British Museum, and it tells us that it has got an international value. People of the world has known about it, and we are recognized here. Our folk art has been recognized internationally. So this was the passage. In fact, I have time and again mentioned that it is a very important passage. Now let's look at some of the core points of the passage. These core points will help you in writing paragraph, in writing summary, and also in writing or in answering the questions. Gazi Pir, a Muslim saint, used to spread Islam in Bengal close to the Sundarbans. He was a man of miracles, and also you can mention that he was not only a man of miracle but also a man of mission. In scroll painting he was depicted as a symbol of courage. Why courage? Because he is holding the snake, riding on a fierce looking Bengal tiger. He rode on a ferocious looking Royal Bengal tiger with a snake in his hand. His physical presence and courageous activities inspired the to live and cultivate near the Sundarban. This is a very important point to mention. তার যে শারীরিক উপস্থিতি গাজী পীরের এবং তার যে দুঃসাহসিক কর্মকাণ্ড, সাহসিকতাপূর্ণ কর্মকাণ্ড সাধারণ মানুষকে উৎসাহিত করেছে সুন্দরবনের আশেপাশের এলাকাগুলোতে থাকার জন্য এবং চাষাবাদ করার জন্য। He fought with crocodiles and showed enormous control over the predatory animals. The story of Gazi Pir has got immortality in folk art, folk literature, and native theatre. The scroll paintings which depicted Gazi Pir are presented in the British Museum. I have told you that this has got an international effect. It has given a universal appeal to the painting. Now, some information in the flowchart. You will flow the information about the specialities of Gazi Pir. The first one is done for you, and you have to follow the informations in the next boxes. I personally prefer the vertical presentation. You can also present it horizontally. Now let's look at the vertical presentation. Give the headline. Do not write the full sentence. Write down the clauses or short phrases. Specialities of Gazi Pir. The first one is given in the answer box. Made the dangerous animal docile. Fought with crocodiles. You can easily see that I have omitted the verb. Kept the predatory animals within bounds. Inspired the people to live near the Sundarbans. Inspired people to cultivate their lands, and also protected people of the Sundarbans. So these are the 6 points. In fact, you have to write down 5 points as the first one is given for you. We have to write, in fact, 6 points. Now some open-ended questions. How was Gazi Pir depicted? If the passage is come as or set in the question paper as the first comprehension, 5 open-ended questions will be given. I have presented here 2. Let us see what is the first question. How was the Gazi Pir depicted in scroll painting? I hope you can easily answer the question. Gazi Pir was depicted in scroll painting. How? Very smartly and as a courageous figure. How courageous? He was riding on a Royal Bengal tiger, ferocious looking Royal Bengal tiger, and also holding a snake in his hand. This shows these represent his courage, extraordinary courage, and immense power over the animals of the area. Why was Gazi admired in parts of rural Bengal for a long time? Gazi was admired. We'll take the subject, then verb, then other parts. That is the extension of the sentence. Gazi was admired in parts of rural Bengal for a long time because he was a role model, he was a saint or a peer who used to spread Islam in that area. He also encouraged people, inspired people to live in that area, cultivate their lands and earn their livelihood very easily without having any fear, because he said that all the fears I had taken away. You only work and go for your livelihood, and your protection I will ensure. Now the multiple choice question, 5 multiple choice question will be set in the exam paper, question paper. In fact, I have shown 2 here. The word indigenous stands for 4 options are given here: interfere, inculcate, native, cross-cultural. আমরা জানি indigenous অর্থ হচ্ছে স্থানীয়. That is the answer. Native, how you can write? You can also only write down A. Number 3, native, or you can write the full sentence. The word indigenous stands for native. Underline the word native. Gazir part scrolls are a part of. Gazir part scroll গুলো কিসের part? Folk literature, folk art, British Museum, or Italian art. Definitely you will be confused between these 2 answers, folk art and British Museum. Actually the correct answer is the folk art. Scrolls are a part of folk art, but these scrolls are preserved in British Museum, which have honored our country and recognized our folk art internationally. Now, this is the extension of our knowledge. I have time and again mentioned the word folk art. So what is folk art? Folk art encompasses art produced from an indigenous culture. স্থানীয় একটা সংস্কৃতি থেকে যে আর্টটা তৈরি হবে. Local people will draw the art like scroll painting. It may be produced by peasants, কৃষকরা করতে পারে, or other laboring trades people, অন্য পেশার লোকজনও করতে পারে, শ্রমিক শ্রেণীর লোকজন করতে পারে. Folk art is primarily utilitarian and decorative. It may be static. নান্দনিক হতেও পারে, নাও হতে পারে. This is an art, folk art. But basically most of the arts focus are very static. There is a touch of statism. It is different from fine arts. So don't mix the term with the fine arts. Some examples of folk art: Nokshikatha, Alpana, embroidery, cane craft, wooden dolls, etc. So you can see the pictures here. This is Nokshikatha, very rich tradition of our Bengal culture. Nokshikatha represents our tradition, thousands years tradition. Deyal Chitra, you are familiar with the cane craft, bamboo craft, and wooden dolls. Now some assignments. Write down the summary of the passage. I have given you the core points and I have also discussed the whole passage. I hope you can easily write down the summary in your own sentences. Try to write down summary in your own sentences. That will reflect your creativity and you will carry good marks out of 10 marks. Write a paragraph on Gazi Pir. We have known so many information about Gazi Pir, so you can easily jot down, or you can easily arrange your ideas in a paragraph giving a title. You must give a title in the paragraph. Remember, write a paragraph on folk art. This is a very critical one. It is mentioned in your textbook if you see it. It may come in the exam, but still no question is set on this topic, but I have given you, and that's why I have shown you some thing about folk art and some examples of folk art so that you can write something on folk art. I hope you can easily now write down at least a page or a page and a half about the folk art. Now I like to give you my concluding remarks and thanks for watching the class or attending the class with me. I am very encouraged that you are watching the class, and I will be very happy if you ask questions and connect with the class more and more. Without communication and asking question, I will not be able to understand that how far you are understanding the lectures or not. Hopefully we'll meet again in our next class. Till then, bye bye. Thank you very much.